Good afternoon. It's April the 23rd, 2004. I'm Mayor Livingston, and this afternoon, Tom Bush and I, on behalf of Southwest Georgia Regional Library, are interviewing Emmett Inlow with his experiences in World War II. Emmett, tell us when you joined the Army.
I didn't actually join. I was inducted to the draft board.
Was that in Bainbridge?
In Bainbridge, right. And I got a few notes here, I think about it. But I went into service through the draft in November of '43. And of course, it was processed through Fort McPherson, Georgia.
Where were you in the war in 1941, please?
I was here in Bainbridge, Georgia, and I recall that me and Carol Harmon and Jack Sanders and 2 or 3 other guys, Paul Malone, were at the Calvary Baptist Church on a Sunday night when the news broke out. And of course, you know, being at that age, you want to get into the war after. We said, well, let's just show them. Of course, we were all too young. So I was still in high school at that time. In fact, my senior year would have been after that.
But you went on, you were drafted in November of '43 and went to Fort McPherson.
Right.
And you were inducted then?
Right. Mayor, I want to be as active as I can. Maybe I went up there and came back for a few days. But anyway, after Fort McPherson, not too long, a couple of weeks from that, I went into Infantry. They call it IRTC, Infantry Replacement Training Center. This was in Camp Fannin, Texas. And this was in February of '44. The nearest town I recall from Fannin, of course, it was just a camp that was thrown up during the war, was Kilgore, Texas, and that's somewhere back toward this way from Dallas.
You had 13 weeks of basic training.
Right. And then after that, I was not obliged to go overseas, go into combat. Of course, that's what IRTC was for, training the infantry replacement. But because of my age, they sent me on to Camp Breckenridge, Kentucky. And while I was there in June of '44 was when the D-Day invasion came off on the Normandy coast there.
But you were still in the United States then?
Right. Mm-hmm. And we were there just a short while because after the D-Day invasion, then they began to call us back in and process us to other areas. From there, I went on to Camp McCain, Mississippi, and there's where I joined the 94th Infantry Division. In fact, Cliff Wells and I were in service together, and that's where we met at Camp McCain. Mm-hmm.
Well, were you both in the same regiment?
Same outfit. He was in one platoon and I was in another. I was in the second platoon, he was in the third. We were in the same company, L Company.
Just for the record, now tell us, Cliff Wells, we've done him, we've recorded him. He's a Care County man. Did you know him before you?
I knew Cliff not that well. I knew that he was over in West Bainbridge and he was a basketball coach. And how I got to know that, I had some cousins that played for him, and I remember them talking about Cliff. And just hearing about him, I knew that he was from Decatur. In fact, when he looked me up, he says, are you an Inlow from Bainbridge, Georgia? I says, yes. And I says, and who are you? I didn't recognize him. And he said, I'm Cliff Wells from Bainbridge. I said, oh yeah, I remember my cousins telling me that you coached in basketball over in West Bainbridge. He said, yeah, I did. I think he had about 3 or 4 of them. So once we got to know each other, but after that we became real close. And as I told you, after we got overseas and into combat, he got wounded and I was shortly behind.
You went overseas in August of 1944.
Right. The reason I know it was August, I had a birthday August the 9th, and I figured we were about halfway when I had a birthday, August the 9th. So we left August the 6th and landed August the 12th in Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland. We went over on the Queen Elizabeth. At that time was the fastest ship afloat. In fact, it was so fast, they didn't have escort. Every few seconds, and I've forgotten how, it seemed like to me it was something like 4 or 5 seconds, but how can you change the course of a ship that large? I don't know, but anyway, it was a short time, and they'd change the course. And by that time, if there was any U-boats out there trying to trigger in on them, of course, they would have been out of the path. So the Queen Elizabeth is a ship that we went over. After we left Camp McCain, we went to New York, and there we crossed the Queen Elizabeth and went to Scotland. We landed in Scotland, and in Scotland we were there just overnight, and then we came on down to South England, and from there we began the process to go on over into France.
Did you do any more training at that time?
No, the training was over. The real thing was that.
You all by then had heard about D-Day.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you knew you were going to France.
Oh yeah. In fact, that was the reason we were from Breckenridge on down to Camp McCain, because we knew that things were really beginning to change.
And you landed on Omaha?
Omaha Beach, right. There was two beaches, Omaha and Utah. We landed on Omaha, D+94, and then after that we went on into France just a short ways, and then from there learned that we were going to be containing 2 German pockets there in southern France. There was about 65,000 Germans in both pockets that had been cut off from the main force, and that was our main duty, just to contain them. There wasn't supposed to be any fighting. Of course, we had some casualties, but nothing like we later had.
Well, was that the Filet Gap or it was the fighting around St. Lo?
We were not in the St. Lo fighting. We, of course, knew about the St. Lo. We knew about it was a real tough battle. After we were at St. Jose and Lorient for about 2 months. And I guess we would have been there, for the length of the duration, except this division that was coming over from England, they were hit by a U-boat and had a terrific number of casualties, not enough that they could go into combat. So they came in and relieved us of the duty we were doing, containing, and then we moved on up into France.
Well, by then you were getting pretty close to the Battle of the Bulge.
It was, yeah, right. It wasn't too much longer. During the time that the Battle of the Bulge came off, I was in the hospital. In fact, let me just back up a little. After we left France, we got on up into Germany, and then we took 2 or 3 towns up there. I remember I had the responsibility of carrying a 75-pound pole charge on my back to blow up these pill boxes. And I remember this little old stream, it wasn't 3 or 4 feet wide. I went to jump over it. When I did, the weight of the pole charge drew me back, and I, of course, that's when I got my feet. So it was that kind of frostbite, frozen feet. There was not a Purple Heart for that. You had to have the old dry town. So I wasn't looking for a Purple Heart. I was just so thankful I got out of it. But my case was pretty tough. I think I told you Cliff had frozen feet, but he was only in there for 9 days. So you can imagine what they were trying to do to me. In fact, they were cutting off toes and feet and whatever it took to save the frozen limbs from going any further. I remember the doctor would come around and touch me on the bottom of my foot and says, "Inlow, how you feeling?" Of course, I told him I was feeling fine. I couldn't tell he was touching my feet. They were that numb.
You didn't want them to cut off your toe, did you?
I didn't want that kind of combat injury, no.
You were in the hospital, I believe I made a note, 33 days.
33 days.
And you went in?
And I was in Germany. Yeah. They had, In fact, it was a gas treatment battalion that they had set up to take care of any eventual gas problem, which they never had. So they converted it into a frostbite hospital. But no, it was there, it was in France. And I had to go back some few miles from the line to get to it. But anyway, it was in France. And I was there for the full 33 days. I never had to go to England or any other place.
Well, after they said that you were all right, and where did you go then? Did you go back to your unit?
Right. After 33 days, I went back and joined my company. I don't remember now exactly how I got back, except I know eventually I had to walk back to get up to them. They carried me as far as they could in a Jeep on a truck. There was several of us. And after we got back up to our unit there, of course, the first thing I found out was Colonel Thurston, who was our battalion commander, was out there doing some firing at that time, and he was that kind of an old soldier, West Point graduate, but he'd get right out there in the middle of all the fighting with his rifle and shoot just like anybody else would. So I saw him, and I said, well, I'm back where I'm supposed to. And eventually I got back with my health company, and then that's when I learned that when I got back, there was 13 original men left in my company, and Cliff Wells was one of the 13. Of course, all of them had been killed. We had pretty stiff casualties. Let's see what I've made a note here about some of the. I thought I wrote that down. Anyway, we had something like 5,000 to 7,000 injured or killed out of our unit. Most of the guys that got hurt and were really pathetic were the replacement guys, and that's what I would have been if I'd have gone over before joining the unit. They got up there, most of them had been in service about 4 or 5 weeks, and right into the front line and all they had to fight, and then most of them just didn't hold out.
When you came back, you knew what to do.
Yeah, sure. There wasn't much to do really. Mel, we began to see them coming back from the opposite direction in just droves. They were giving up, and we got to a point where we couldn't keep up with them walking. So they got trucks up there, and we rode trucks almost to Ludwig shop. I expect we were probably 2 or 3 miles when we got out off of trucks and walked on in.
You in Germany then?
Right. Ludwigshafen, right on the Rhine. It was a big industrial city.
Had it been pretty well shot up?
Right. There was a lot of war damage because we'd done a lot of damage through air bombing, and then we also did a lot of artillery. So there was a lot of damage.
Well, where were you when Cliff got shot?
We were at Ludwigshafen. That's where we were. And I started to tell you, Cliff, if he'd have gone another 4, 5, 6 hours, he'd have come out of it without a scratch. He got walking down the street there, and this German sniper with automatic weapon. I learned later, and of course I heard it when he, of course there's a lot of shots going on, but you could tell an automatic weapon from just a regular rifle. And Cliff was one of the lucky ones. There's about 5 or 6 of them that got hit. And in fact, I know Blackie Nicholson, who was a member of our platoon. I remember he got killed there, and then I think Cliff said there was probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 others that got killed. So he wasn't really hit that bad. He was hitting a violent place, hitting his shoulder. In fact, when I saw him, he was standing over in the doorway of this building, holding his left arm. And of course, I could see he'd been hit. And I made some remark about, I hated to see he got hit. He said, "Don't worry about me, I'm going home." What he didn't know, I'd be in home about a year. He had to go to the hospital in France, went to the hospital in England, and then back to the States. So I was home a good year before he got back.
And he still suffers from that wound.
Well, he has very little use of that arm. I know when we went up to one of the conventions, I let him drive my van, and he'd lay that arm up there, and he'd be able to drive with it, but he wouldn't be able to do a lot of fast turning. But he has some use. I mean, your Cliff was a pretty good athlete growing up. He's a good baseball player, and I think they played some golf. And of course, he had to give up all that.
Was it, did you, you knew he got hit? And,
Oh, I saw him.
And then at the last you saw him.
Right, because from there, he told me later how slow it was getting even any medics to come in. He kept hollering for a medic. Of course, a lot of people were doing the same thing. And finally, the medic got to him and was able to, I think, otherwise, he said if that medic hadn't got there, he'd have bled. So the medic got there and gave him the first aid that he needed to stop the bleeding, and then they shipped him on back to France.
What month? This was in 1945.
45, right.
What month was it?
Okay, Cliff, let's see. Make sure I think I gave you that date, but I
You did, and they put it in. But anyway, the war was over in May. So
Right.
it had to have been sometime in February, March.
I think Cliff told me that when he got wounded, it was, and he said the date, February the 23rd, but I'm not exactly sure. But it was sometime around.
But you all were moving into Germany pretty well.
Yeah, we had,
And the Germans were surrendering.
well, as I said, they were so fast that we couldn't walk even. We had to get on trucks.
Obviously, there's one guy with that sniper that had surrendered.
Well, no, and this, as I say, that if he'd have gone another, they were still heavy fighting when we got there. But if Cliff had gone a few hours, of course, we finally had Ludwig Cochran under control, and the fighting had stopped as far as in his shooting might have been some scatter shots and folks that didn't know the war. So, but we withdrew from the line that afternoon and never went back into combat. Now the war didn't end right then, but it wasn't. But well, February, March till May, just a couple of months, and then it was over.
During that time, Emmett, what did y'all do? I mean, were you moving on toward the east, expecting to run into the Russians, or?
Well, after we withdrew out of Ludwigshafen, as I say, we never went back into combat. And I think we had a lot of calisthenics and that sort of, and drilling and that sort of thing. But, yeah, we had some problems with the Russians. We had problems with the Russians in Czechoslovakia. We pulled some occupational duty there in handling the displaced persons, Polacks, and several other nationalities. And it got to the point where the general called us up as a division down to the city park there and told us that the Russian situation is getting bad. And if they come over into your territory, you ask them to leave, that they're not supposed to come here. And he says, if they don't leave, you shoot them and send them back. So I thought that was pretty strong. Supposedly there was an ally there, but they weren't allies.
What did you have? You didn't have to go that far. You didn't shoot.
No. We in fact, let me just back up. After Ludwigshafen, we were withdrawn into Czechoslovakia to full occupation review. We were there probably about 2 months. And while we were there, General Patton came back to our unit, and of course he wanted to see the unit because we were part of his unit. He wanted to come back and tell us what a good job we done. But anyway, I recall when he came up and this fellow standing next to me, he reached over and sort of wiped the perspiration off, or wiped his forehead. I think he later made the comment, well, I said, you know, these soldiers must be in pretty good shape. They don't even perspire, or don't sweat. But, of course, you know about Patton, and he's a great general. But he liked to have a pearl handle pistol on his side, and he liked to ride in his nice Jeep and let you know that he was there. And he was there.
I was his son's adjutant in Germany.
You were?
Yep, and his son also carried pearl handle 45s around.
That's probably something his daddy gave him.
Yeah, he was a 2-star then, and that's as far as he went.
The son?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he's a great gentleman, I think.
Who was you all attached to his army, the 3rd Army?
3rd Army, right. We joined the 3rd Army in 22nd Corps, and of course the 9th Corps was our division. We were, as I say, during the Battle of the Bulge was when I was in the hospital, so I was not involved in actual fighting, but our unit was. And, in fact, I'm going to give you some material here that I'm going to let you take and read some of the statements that Patton said about how good an outfit we had.
What was the nickname of the 94?
Didn't have one. You know, I was surprised at that. I was reading an article after that, and I know that our infantry, 376 infantry motto was "Don't tread on me," and it showed a coiled snake there. But I don't think that the division itself had a motto.
We've never given a lot of people. And this division, was it mostly draftees?
You know, it was draftees, and you know there was a lot of. Did you ever hear of the ASTP boys?
Oh, yeah.
American Army Specialized Training. They were made up mainly of college kids, and yeah, there was mostly draft. We had I say of our unit of the members in there, over half were either draftees or ASTP guys.
How about the officers, 90-day wonders?
Most of them were. I don't know many of them have been any point graduates. I know Captain Brighton, our company commander, who got killed. I think he was probably a point man. But anyway, most of them were just they were that. I'm sure most of them were ASTP officers. They came out of that specialized program in OCS.
The group you went in with back when you took in infantry training, did you all pretty well stay together the rest of the war?
No. The basic training that I took, most of those guys, if they were of age, they went right over into combat. And as I told you, that was the guys that were really up against it. Most of them had been in service just a short 2 or 3 months, and right out of the home fires of their home, and then combat was just too much for them. We had a lot of casualties, mostly from replacement.
Well, most of the casualties from a situation like going into this town and sniping a few sniper machine gun nests or something.
And artillery, we had a lot of artillery.
But you were in Germany. You were west of the Rhine River.
Right.
I mean, the east of the Rhine. You'd cross the Rhine.
Right. We would have been west of the Rhine. I didn't even thought about it. But anyway, the Rhine was the main river through. In fact, Ludwigshafen was right on the Rhine.
And the war would soon be over. You got some more notes there you want to put in right now?
Well,
I was still in Germany.
Okay. I was just going to try to see if I could piece together what we've been talking about. In August of '44, we were shipped to what they call the ETO, European Theater of Operation. And as I said, we were on the Queenmaker, landed in Scotland, moved on to England, and across English Channel, and landed on D+94 on Omaha Beach in southern France. Then we moved from southern France to these 2 German pockets, and was there for about 2 or 3 months. And after a very short stay there, we were relieved by this division that had this German U-boat that they had a lot of casualties, so they weren't able to go in.
We never think about U-boats that late in the war.
Oh yeah. In fact, St. Nazaire and Lower End were German U-boat towns.
And they were still.
Well, I don't know how active they were there, because we had the town surrounded inland, but of course you had water coming up from the outside. But I'm sure there was a lot of U-boats that were going in and out of St. Nazaire and Lower End.
And you came home in January of '46.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Before that though, and after Germany surrendered, and you all obviously knew it, well, you were ready, you all would have ended up going to Japan.
This is what most of us thought, that the war, since it was over in Germany, that the war still being over in Japan, we'd probably wind up over there. In fact, there was some rumors to the fact that we were going to have to start doing some preparation for that. Boys, from mid-August, it was about 3 months out that we were not sure where we were going to wind up in Japan or not.
You were not opposed to hydrogen bomb when they dropped that into it.
Listen, I wonder where they'd been hiding it, where they should have used it a long time.
With the hydrogen bomb, they
No, I'm sorry, that's our topic wrong. You're right, you're right.
We were working on the hydrogen weapon.
No, you're right.
Yeah. All right, now let me just say this about our division. We received several awards. We were the first infantry regiment in the Army, whole U.S. Army. They received the combat infantry badge as a division. Of course, there were several small units. And then we were, as I say, in General Patton's Third Army. We were under him during the time of the Battle of the Bulge. And we received 4 battle stars, and I think I gave you what those were, for the 4 major battles that we were in. And let's see, I received the Bronze Star Medal. This was for helping to evacuate some wounded out of a minefield. And you know, I'm not to this day so sure it wasn't one of my own buddies that we did this. Later I found out that he was in a minefield and that he lost a leg and likely bled to death. And would have bled to death if the weather hadn't been so cold and kept him from bleeding to death.
Well, how did you get them out of there without getting?
Well,
where were you, in France?
Well, no, we were in Germany at that time. Only thing we knew was that there was some wounded out there. We at the time, I don't expect any of us knew there was a minefield. All we knew that there was some wounded out there. And after we got it back out, and of course we found out that they had got into the minefield. How we got out there and didn't get into it, I don't know, but I don't remember any of the ones that went in there and got stepped on it. Maybe they'd already been all exploded by those other guys.
Well, and one of the guys
Lost his right leg. In fact, I called him 2 or 3 days ago and didn't get to talk to him and talk to his wife, Joyce. And I was trying to get him to go to this reunion we're having up in Memphis. She said that Clayton had just got to the point where he just wasn't able to get about like he wants to. And she said, I don't think we'll be able to. She also said she was having some health problems. You know, in my unit now, I get a bulletin from them about, well, I know quarterly. And every edition we get, they show this TAPS list. And listen, that thing is getting longer and longer. And we can see why. After a while, we ain't going to be, many of us had left because
we wanted you to do this.
Father Time taking care of a lot of that.
Well, all you guys, practically all of you into your 80s.
I was one of the youngest in my unit. I was 18. And I think the oldest one was Cliff, and he would have probably been about 26. I think he's about 8 years old. So most of us were probably, as you say, STP and draftees. Most of us, I guess, were the 18 to 21 age bracket. But we had some in there.
Well, we interviewed a fellow the other day that's 90, so. Well,
right, he was a little too old to be there. he must have been an old retired. Okay, I returned home under what at that time was a point system, and it was based on your wartime service. In other words, combat time counted more for you than just being in service. And I got out, as I say, about a year before Cliff did, because he had to go through all those hospitals. And then in January of '46, I was discharged from Camp Gordon, Georgia. And after that, I applied for the GI Bill and got it. Went on to Southwestern for 2 years at Americas, and then went on to Georgia and graduated in '50. So after I graduated from college, I worked with a life company for a couple of years, and then after that, I went to work at State Farm and retired within that 40 years and 4 months. That's long enough for a man to have to work.
Yeah. Well, we were at Georgia. I was there, and we were there together, if you remember.
Yeah.
I was there, and what I slept through that class.
Do you remember what the professor in money banking? It was a tough course, I remember that.
Was it Ivy?
No.
Yeah.
I'll know when you see it, but I don't know.
But it was good.
He was
tough.
I think he was the author of the textbook.
And then now, we've got a few minutes left. Then you went to our, you were an officer doing the career.
Right. What happened, I think I told you it's about meeting one of my buddies up there. He was an American, so went on to Georgia head of it. When I got up there, I said, Bill Sellers, you might remember Bill. Yeah. From Facebook. And Bill had this ROTC uniform. I said, Bill, what in the world are you doing with that on war? I said, you just got out of a war. He says, they paid me 90 cents a day. I said, where do you sign up? So I got my commission on June the 5th of 50. And
June 5th of 50.
And the career broke out what, 2 or 3 days after that? I think they waited till I got back in. So I served, but I had a good setup there. When I got there, I found out I couldn't get my family over there and when I left, they said I'd be able to get my wife and son over there within a year. Got over there and found out it'd be 2 years. And after I got them over there, I'd have to sign up for another 2 or 3 years. So I went down to Far East headquarters and talked to them down there. So what's the quickest way a fella can get back home from over here? They said, well, the tour of duty over in Korea is 1 year. And of course, you get 30 days off, so it would actually be about 11 months. He says, what is your MOS? And I told him I was a personal affairs officer, and he looked on his roster and he says, you know, we don't have a personal affairs officer in all of Korea. He said, you want to go over there? I said, yeah, sign me up right now. So I got there. Let me tell you how the good Lord has really taken care of me, and he's taken care of a lot of folks, especially in this situation. I got over there, and let's just say I couldn't get my family over. Got over to Korea in April of 50, what? 2? 1?
War was over in 52.
Okay, it's 51. Anyway, I got over there and it was in April. And I got there and boy, was it cold. And I said, boy, I don't know where this 11-month tour over here is going to be what I need with this kind of weather. But anyway, I went ahead and made my mind up, well, I'll just serve this 9 months ago. They came out with a regulation, Air Force regulation. Anybody who had World War II service with overseas time would be eligible for immediate release. I just got a promotion to first lieutenant in August. September, I was on my way back home.
And that ended your military career.
That was not, and I don't, to this day, I don't know what happened to my record. I'm not sure I'm in the, I know must not be in the standby reserve, but I might be in a reserve that if things really got bad, it could cause.
Well, probably all of your records were burned up in that fire in St. Louis.
Might have been.
I mean, they lost millions of records.
Yeah.
Did you?
No, this was mostly World War II, Korean War.
Yeah, that might have been, Tom, I'd forgotten about that, but it might have been. But anyway, as far as I know right now, I'm too old for the draft, so they ain't gonna block me.
But Emmett, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, let me just say further, you knew Dorothy Hodges.
Sure.
That was my first wife, and you remember the circumstances. She died with Alzheimer's. But we had 6 of the finest children that you could have, and I'm not bragging, I'm just grateful. We had 5 boys and a daughter. Steve was the oldest, and then Stephanie, and then we had the four redheaded brothers. So after Dorothy died, I met this lady that I was in school with up in Georgia Southwest. But you know, I never knew her. I knew her brother, Jimmy T. Harrison, and you might. Did you ever mention?
Yeah,
Did I mention about that?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, okay. Jimmy T. and I played baseball together up at Georgia at Southwest. So I never knew Virginia. She was married, I understand. When I was first there, she was already married, so it made no difference in it. But anyway, after Dorothy was in the hospital with this hip replacement, she was a great lady out there doing volunteer work, and she saw the name on the door. She says, "Do you know Bernard Inlow?" I said, "Yeah, Bernard's the first cousin of mine." She said, "Well, we were good friends of Bernard and Betty." I said, "Well, great." And she says, "We were sort of neighbors to one another, but I never knew exactly where Bernard was from. His wife, Betty, was from America." I said, "No, Bernard's from here." And she said, "Well, he and my husband were good friends." So we got to chatting back and forth and found out that she was there at the same time I was there, but I never got to. Her brother, Jimmy T., was a doctor over Thomasville, and he's been passed away now probably 8 or 10 years. So it was a small world. We were in college together, didn't even know it. She later went on. When I was at Southwestern, it was only a 2-year school. And from there, of course, I went to Georgia, and she went on to Valdosta. She got a BS there, and then went on later got her master's. We're getting off into things that are not even related to the war. Yeah, it is very much related. Listen, if it hadn't been for the war, I would have probably never gone to college. I mean,
Well, you're not the first one that said that. You have to have in, I think, it's pretty close, this will be 30, I think. And you'd be surprised about how many people will say that I went to college because of the idea.
well, listen, that's the best scholarship a fellow could have. They paid all the books, tuition. And as I say, what I said, they paid us a day, $30 for the ROTC.
90 cents.
90 cents, $30 a month. What a word.
That's a lot of money back then.
You ain't kidding. In fact, that 90 cents a day made the difference in on the first of the month, I could go to the varsity and eat a Swiss cheese ham on rye, not eat a hot dog.
But, Emmett, I want to thank you for being with us and for what you did. And the whole American public ought to thank people like you. Because you made it all possible.
Mayor, I appreciate that, but let me just say this, and I just made a remark about I probably wouldn't have gone to college if it hadn't been for the war. And of course, if I'd have known it was going to take a war to get an education, I maybe would have come back and found out a better way to go. But it was, I had a lot of good things to happen to me in service. I never got wounded. I had the frozen feet. Never had one day's trouble with it after I got home.
One question, and we'll close it out. When you put that clip in that rifle, did you ever think about shooting a man?
No. I don't think anybody did.
Did you think you hit one or?
Well, I'm sure I hit some. I didn't stop to see where I hit them, how hard.
Well, that's a question
But you know, I always felt like that if I could get by without killing somebody, I'd do it. I wouldn't just kill him to be killing. But I think I told you as we were going into the local shopping, there was this machine gun nest on the left side of the road there. And I said, well, why in the world aren't they out going to the rear? All the other Germans were giving up. They were just standing there. And I hollered to him in German. I said, "Hände hoch," which means hands up. And he just looked at me. And I fired my rifle right far enough I wouldn't even close to hit. But when he saw that dust fight, he came out and started running to the rear. He and another guy. There was 2 of them in there. But I never understood why they allowed those 2 Germans to stay there with the machine gun. It was still there. And whether or not there was any ammunition available or whether they could, of course, they wouldn't have started shooting him, but we would
Thank you again, Emmett, we appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to do it, and I hope this will be of some help to some folks who down the road, they see it, say, well, you know, we did have a war back then, somebody was able to get some good out of it.